Hello, everybody. Eric here with my weekly wrap up for November 3rd through November 9th. Notice I didn't have to check the calendar this time. That's because I looked before I started recording. Not a lot going on this past week. I posted reviews for Low Blasphemy by Judith Sonnet and Halloween My Way by Summer Cannon. Not going to say too much about those because I want you to go and watch those reviews. And of course, on Wednesday, I posted a Reading Remembrances video. And I've recorded the Reading Remembrances for next week. Or technically, I guess when you're watching this week. And I have not recorded my book reviews yet. But I did read some books. I finished Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. So I'll be recording that review as soon as I finish this video. And then I followed that up with Shaft by Ernest Tiedemann and Deliverance by James Dickey. This is all part of my books that have been made into movies book bundle reading. Still calling it book bundle because nobody gave me a better idea. And then I am currently in the middle-ish of, not quite the middle of, The Thicket by Joe R. Lansdale. And then the last book that I'll be reading for this is The Visitor. I don't recall the author's name. It was made into a movie called Of Unknown Origin, yes, the movie's Of Unknown Origin. And then after that, that'll be the last in that book bundle, books made into movies. Then I've got some unrelated things to read. Millionaire's Day by Kit Power, which was sent to me as a gift from the wonderful Kaylee Dobbs of Happy Goat Horror. It is from French Press Books or Publishing. Not sure which it is. And she works for them, but she sent it to me as a gift, I think. I don't think it was sent like, here's a review copy. Please read and review this. She just said she was sending it to me. After that, I've got I Believe in Mr. Bones by Max Booth III. Very much looking forward to that. Always love Max Booth's stuff. And then I'll probably read another one or two or three sort of randomy things before I get into the next book bundle, which I believe we're going to segue from books that have been made into movies into novelizations. And when that comes up, then I'll let you know what those books are going to be. So that's all the reading stuff that went on. I played board games, tabletop games, lived through a terrible election, and we won't go into that at all. And learned that apparently Paramount Plus does not want me watching Star Trek Lower Decks. I decided, I've seen the first episode a long time ago. When it premiered, they had it for free on YouTube, so I watched it there. It's Lower Decks is a cartoon comedy featuring characters from, well, the lower decks of a starship. You know, not the stars you normally see in a Star Trek series. It's not the captain and the head of security and the head of medical, whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Or the first officer. It's the lower ranking people, the people that make the ship run. And so I had seen the first episode, really enjoyed it. It's very funny. Decided I was going to start watching the show. My niece's father has me on his Paramount Plus account. And I tried half a dozen times to rewatch the pilot to remind myself of what the hell is going on and then get back into the series. And it just keeps buffering and then saying there's a problem. Try again later. And I thought maybe it was a Paramount Plus problem. So I went to a different show. I went to Evil. I'm not sure how many seasons there have been. I think it's been canceled. I don't think there's any new ones coming out. But it's basically it's a show. Well, I watched the first episode. I had no problem. That show just came up and it played. And so the first episode, which is setting everything up, there's a this woman who is a psychologist or psychiatrist or something like that, and she is independent contractor working for the DA's office, and so has been, in this particular case, she's being paid to interview this killer, this serial killer, who claims that he has no memory of doing any of these things. He's blacked out. And so she's supposed to analyze him, talk to him, test him, see if this is a viable defense. And but then demons come up as a thing that could be part of his defense. And she sees this guy who's interviewing the dude about demons, and this is Mike Colter. He's the only actor whose name I remember. Actually, that's not true. But Mike Colter, who played Luke Cage in the Marvel shows, The Defenders, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. He is a divinity student, so he wants to be a priest. He works for the Vatican to see if cases are viable for exorcism, essentially. So anytime someone brings up demon possession or anything like that, he's the guy they send out to see. He and his partner, who doesn't believe in stuff, thinks there's always a real world explanation. He and his partner investigate to see if maybe it does need to be an exorcism. So the spoilers for the first episode. The DA wants the woman, I wish I could remember her name, to lie on the stand because she's not sure that this guy doesn't have a viable defense. And the DA's like, you just go up on the stand and tell him we can put him on trial and put him in jail, blah, 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 blah. And so she ends up quitting. And so then the Mike Colter character comes to her, and she's got like hella student loans. So Mike Colter comes to her, offers her a job working with him. And so she joins his team to investigate because the killer's wife says she thinks he's possessed. And so we see this team of people. It's the woman, the Mike Colter character, and this other guy investigating to see if it's possibly demonic possession or if there's a real world explanation for it. The other actor that I know is Kurt Fuller, who generally I'm used to seeing in very comedic roles. He's in a Scary Movie. I believe it's the first Scary Movie. He's the sheriff. And he's the medical examiner, recurring character medical examiner on the TV show Psych, which I absolutely love Psych. And he was very funny, a very quirky character on that TV show. It was interesting seeing him in a normal role. He's playing a psychologist or psychiatrist that this woman goes to. It's her therapist. And so he's not a weird, quirky character like I'm used to seeing. He's playing something straight. So that was fun. So we get the investigation. They come up with the answer. I'm not going to spoil everything. So I'm not going to say whether or not it's demonic or there's a real world explanation. There are some horrific scenes in it. As in horror, not necessarily horrific, but straight up horror scenes. And it was a very enjoyable show. I hope to watch the rest of it. I don't have a good track record with this. But I love the premise, and I really enjoyed all the performances. The guy that works with the woman and Mike Colter, I know him from stuff too. Oh, he's Oh, I know his name, but he's from The Daily Show. I believe he was on The Daily Show. Menvey? Is that his last name? Anyway, I really like that guy too. So great cast, great premise, and from everything I've heard it's a terrific show throughout. So I watched that. As soon as I finished, I went back to Star Trek Lower Decks. It would not play. I'm gonna maybe try to skip the first episode, go to the second episode. Maybe it's a first episode problem. I don't know. And I don't remember the first episode well enough, which is why I wanted to go back and watch it. Maybe I can find it. Maybe it's still on YouTube. Anyway, this is all a long-winded way of saying Paramount Plus doesn't want me to watch Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Decks. But I found Evil. And that was enjoyable. I'm really going to try to watch more episodes of that, but I always end up reading instead. That's basically it. I can't think of anything else that went on. I'm still laid off from work. So there's that, which is why I can get all this reading done and play all these board games. I did make dinner for the family. Found a macaroni and cheese recipe. Big fan of, well, almost anything with cheese. But big fan of macaroni and cheese. This is an incredibly cheesy recipe. It uses twice as much cheese as my mother uses in her regular macaroni and cheese. But that was enjoyable. I enjoyed making up some macaroni and cheese, and it was pretty darn tasty. And that's about it. Hanging out, reading, playing with my niece, playing board games, watched a little bit of TV. Didn't watch any movies or anything. So that's it. That was the week of November 3rd through the 9th. And I didn't think ahead to any... Well, I'll just ask. Have any of you watched the TV show Evil? What do you think of it? So far, I've enjoyed the one episode that I've seen. Let me know what you think down below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments down below. If you have a better idea than book bundle for what I'm doing when I pick a theme, read a bunch of books that follow under that umbrella theme. If you have a better name for it than book bundle, let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, I will put links for my Twitter, Instagram, and Bluesky down in the description below. And that's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.